Hey there, I'm Cass from Love and Life with Cass, and in today's vlog we're going to talk about why you shouldn't let fear stop you from living your travel dreams. 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine was telling me that he had the opportunity to go to Costa Rica, and I was so excited for him. I was like, that sounds awesome. Costa Rica sounds like paradise. There's the beach, you can go surfing, they have these cool yoga retreat centers, you can go explore the rainforest, go zip lining, there's monkeys, like all of it just sounds awesome. And he was saying that he didn't think that he was gonna go though. And I was like, why, man? Like, that's crazy. Like, you should totally do it. And he was like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. And I said, oh, like, do you have the money to do it? He goes, yeah, like, totally got enough savings, like, it'll all be fine. And I'm like, oh man, you should definitely do it. And just try and encourage him to live his life and YOLO, all that fun stuff. I said, well, honestly, I think I'm a little afraid. I've never really been on a trip before. And I was like, oh man, like, don't let that stop you, like, you gotta do it. Like, and it made me think back to my first time when I traveled by myself and how afraid I was, and how it's so silly looking back on how afraid I was, because there's nothing to be afraid of, and how I wish that I could just go back and tell myself that everything's gonna be okay. So I made this video to tell everyone else that everything's gonna be okay. The first time I flew by myself and I went on a trip alone was when I was 18, and I went to Australia. Yay! I went for 6 months on this volunteer program. I was so nervous when I was going. So, like, it was the coolest thing. I looked up the program, and it was everything I wanted. Everything. I wanted to go to Australia since I was like 10 years old, and now I was 18 and I was gonna do it. It was gonna be awesome. So I booked my tickets, paid for everything, got the visa, all that stuff. And when it came time to go, it was in January, and my parents drove me to the airport. And when we got to the airport, I started crying because I was so afraid, like full out meltdown, because I just got so nervous. I've never been on an airplane alone before, let alone a plane ride that's longer than 4 hours, so it would be my first time. And my parents were like, you don't have to go if you don't want to, like, if you really don't, you don't have to do this, like, it's okay. And I was like, no, like, I want to do it, I'm just a little nervous. So I said my goodbyes, they sent me off, went through customs, checked in my bag, and calmed down a lot. I got on the airplane and everything was fine, and the plane ride was 20 hours from Toronto to Sydney. We stopped in Vancouver for an hour there, which was nice, and it was great. I had to sit in the middle seat though, which kind of sucked, but I sat beside really nice people the whole way there, so it was good. So then plane ride was alright, landed in Sydney, and I needed to change terminals. So I was this little 18-year-old. I had this huge backpack on. Literally, it was like double my body size because I fit so much stuff in there, and then this suitcase, and I'm just walking around trying to find where I gotta go. I was in Terminal 1, I had to get to Terminal 3. I had no idea where I was going. It was also super hot, so in January in Toronto, it's a little cold, it's winter time, so it's anywhere from like 0 to minus 40 degrees Celsius. In Sydney in January, it's the complete opposite, so it's summertime, and it was like 35 degrees Celsius. So I got off the airplane wearing leggings and a scarf and a cardigan, and all of a sudden it's super hot and I'm sweating, and I'm lost, and I have this huge backpack on and I don't know where I'm going. I've had my contacts in for 20 hours. I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do. So I asked somebody, like, hey, can you help me? I don't know where I'm going. Can you please show me how to get to Terminal 3? And this guy goes, oh, don't worry, dear, you just have to go catch the bus outside. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I go outside. It's even hotter now because I'm outside the terminal. And I'm like, okay, so I go to the bus, and I see that it says to Terminal 2. I said, oh, so I'm waiting there for a bit. The next bus comes, and it says Terminal 2 as well. So then I go, and I asked the bus driver, like, hey, do you know where the bus comes for Terminal 3? And the guy says, oh no, there's no bus that comes, you have to go to the other terminal, it's just over there. And he just points to nowhere, like the middle of nowhere, and he goes, just go over there. And then he just drove away. So I was so confused, I got overwhelmed, I was nervous, I don't know where I was. And then I finally found this really nice guy who walked me over to Terminal 3, which was really nice. And from Terminal 3 I caught a bus which took me to the real Terminal 3. Super confusing, but I was a little stressed out about it. So I got there, got to where I was supposed to be, everything was fine, but I was still freaking out. I'm a verbal processor, I didn't have any time to talk to anyone about it. So I pick up the phone, Tried to use my calling card to call Canada. Didn't really work. Ended up calling collect back to Canada. My parents picked up. Told them the whole story. I started crying again at the airport. Been like, I don't know where I was, blah, 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 blah. This is crazy. It's all stressful, like a little loser. But it was good, and my parents just listened to me. They calmed me down and told me everything was alright. I was in the right spot, and it was good. So from there, I caught my connecting flight to Brisbane, and then I went up to Townsville. And had a great time. It was amazing. I had the best 6 months probably of my life. I did everything I wanted to do in Australia. I went surfing, I went scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. I camped in the outback, I played with kangaroos, I held baby crocodiles, and I met some of the best people in the whole world. And looking back on that moment in the airport, I was freaking out. Like, it's so silly to be nervous, but it's so legit. You know, we're only people. We get nervous, we get afraid. But what I would like to tell anybody is that it's okay to be nervous, it's okay to be afraid, but don't let that stop you. Just like I was afraid, I was nervous, I didn't know what I was doing, but all I did was call home and people answered. You know, like, we have so much technology these days. Like, just because we don't know anyone where we are, it doesn't mean that we're alone. Like, our loved ones are just a phone call away, they're just a text away, they're just a Facebook poke away. Just tweet them, Instagram, all that stuff that we have now. So yeah, like, it was really nervous. I was nervous I wasn't gonna make friends. I was nervous that, you know, something was gonna happen in the airport, and it was fine. And it was fine, and I still had all the support that I had back at home, just over the internet now. So don't be afraid to follow your dreams. Go traveling, go explore the world, live life to the fullest. It's totally worth it, and yeah, you will totally not regret ever conquering your fears. So don't let that stop you. Go to Costa Rica, go to Iceland, go to wherever you want. Just keep traveling and have a good time. Yay! That's it for today, guys. Hope you are inspired and that you book a trip right now, because you deserve to see the world. Have a nice one. Bye bye. Nodding my head like yeah, moving my hips like yeah. So put my hands up, they play my song. I know it's gonna be okay.
Don't be running anything.
Yeah. It's a party in the USA.